Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is a training topic, and we're going to cover how to achieve total fitness in 30-minute workout. Okay, so this continues with kind of our latest podcast theme of these being trainer request topics. So it's awesome when we get feedback about what people want to hear about. So that way I know at least one person will benefit. But this is something, again, that's kind of come up relatively often in the personal training world, is how do I get the best I can for clients out of 30-minute sessions. And then also, regular gym goers, we don't always have, an hour plus to spend in the gym. So what do we do when we only have 30 minutes? Can we still get a complete workout? And the answer is yes. Now, I'm going to go through and kind of explain the components of a full workout that'll get you total fitness. And what this means is you're getting strength gains, you're getting some kind of muscle building gains, assuming your nutrition supports that, and you're getting cardiovascular health. So we're kind of getting athleticism and everything, like you're kind of trying to get everything. And our goal would be here is to be a little bit stronger, a little bit like more well-rounded, more well-balanced in our muscles, and then still have good cardiovascular health and like movement health. So being able to move and be athletic. So that would be kind of the goal. Now, how do you achieve that in 30 minutes? It is difficult in the sense of you have to be on point with rest times and making sure you're not dilly-daddling. And then as a trainer, there's even more advanced things that I'm not going to get into in this podcast because of time length requirements. But there's even exercise choices make a big difference in the sense of choosing things that don't have a high degree of setup. So things that are kind of easy flowing one into the next. And then also things that might only require one or two warm-up sets to get the movement pattern correct, as opposed to something more complex, like say a clean and press. Somebody might have to have 4, 5, 6 warm-up sets, or a really heavy squat. So you wouldn't really want to have somebody try to work up to a 1-rep max on a squat or a deadlift in a 30-minute workout. Now deadlifts can be done a little faster, but squats shouldn't be. So you have to kind of pick and choose your exercise selections with this time frame in mind. So I might have to make that as a separate podcast, but that is something that's a very small detail that can make or break a 30-minute workout. So what we're going to discuss today is the components that need to be in the workout, kind of a general timing idea of how long each component should take, and then we're going to give some examples of how to address each component. So, let me quit rambling and let's get into it. So if we want to achieve total health, then we're going to look for, like we said, strength, some type of muscle manipulation, some type of work that creates muscular stress, that if you eat in excess calories, you will build muscle. If you eat at maintenance calories, you'll kind of build the weaker ones, but you'll get more of a balancing of muscle rather than actually growing of muscle. And then if you're eating in a caloric deficit, this type of training at least promotes you to not lose muscle tissue. So the more you stress muscle tissue, the more the body feels that it's valuable and it must maintain it. So it'll put more efforts and resources towards maintaining muscle, and therefore you'll hold on to more muscle as you lose body fat. So it is absolutely important to beat the shit out of your muscles, even if fat loss is your goal, because we need our muscles to stay. So we've talked before, and actually I think just yesterday's podcast, we talked about how muscle tissue is metabolically active. It requires our body to do work to keep it alive. And what that means in regards to benefits here for us is our muscles burn calories. So our body has to expend calories to keep muscles alive. And therefore, you can eat more calories and they go towards muscle repair and growth and maintenance rather than towards fat. So the more muscle you have, the more you can eat while not getting as fat. So there you go. So now, our first component is movement preparation. And this can kind of fall into different categories. There's different ways to address this. But in general, I like using dynamic, good lordy, I can't even say that word. I like using dynamic movements and stuff that involves the core. So we'll go through here a little bit more details of what kind of examples that is. But that's generally what we're looking for is movement preparation. So before a person just comes in and you throw them under a barbell and tell them to start squatting, or you give them dumbbells and tell them to do walking lunges, their knees and their hips and stuff probably aren't ready. They just came from sitting in a car. They maybe have just woken up, so they haven't really got moving for the day, or maybe it's the end of the day and they've been sitting in a chair all day, so their musculature balance is not appropriate for just jumping into physical movement right away. So especially loaded physical movement. So we have to do some type of kind of dynamic movement warm-up. You can address small weaknesses within that, and you can address core within that. So we'll give some more examples here in a second. But in general, that's your first thing you have to do is movement preparation. Then you go into strength. And we're going to be discussing today's thing as a full body workout. If you want to do it as just legs or just push-pull like upper body, it's way easier. So I figured I'd give you the harder version, and then you guys can kind of dumb it down and make it easier for the separated versions if you want. So, but the second component is strength, and you have to make sure you address legs. You have to make sure you address your push muscles, which is your chest, front, shoulders, and triceps. Then we have to address our pull muscles, which is our back and our biceps. So that kind of gets the full body. Then you go into muscle manipulation, which are things that cause muscular stress depending on what your goal is. So if somebody's goal is to be more of a bodybuilder than they are wanting to be like cardiovascularly fit, you would spend more time doing muscle manipulation, like beating the crap out of the muscle, trying to get more muscle damage. If somebody just needs a little touch-up on muscle, maybe build a couple weak areas, but they really want fat loss and they really want cardiovascular health, then you're going to make that portion, this muscle manipulation portion, a little shorter. Then the last thing we have is what we call muscle cardio. So we've discussed in the past what muscle cardio is, and we have a past podcast about that. So it is podcast number 30 that discusses muscle cardio. And what muscle cardio is you're doing stuff that gets you out of breath like traditional cardio does, like walking on a treadmill or going for a jog or stuff like that, but you're using weight-loaded activities. And the benefit of that is it uses up more oxygen in a shorter period of time, so you actually get a greater effect of aerobic health. And you get to use your muscles, which creates stress on the body, and the body feels like it must maintain those muscles, so you get to maintain muscles more during a caloric deficit. And then also, you just burn more overall calories when you're using your muscles and your lungs at the same time. So muscle cardio, which is, again, using weights to do cardio, is way, way, way more effective than traditional cardio like walking on a treadmill or something like that. And it's also going to be a super duper benefit given the fact that we only have a short time frame in this workout. So you think about, like, if somebody's walking on a treadmill, how long do they have to walk before they really get out of breath? You know, depending on the person, that might take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Whereas if you do muscle cardio, so you give them some light dumbbells, and you have them do, say, walking lunges, stiff leg deadlifts, squats, cleans, like clean and presses, and then maybe like renegade rows, and they do that for 3 circuits, they're going to be dead in like 5 minutes. And if you do it really light-weighted, that's going to be really good cardio because they're going to be getting out of breath. So the idea of muscle cardio is that your lungs are kind of dying at the same time your muscles are dying. So if you have something heavy enough to where your muscles are dying before your lungs, it's too heavy. If you have something where your lungs are dying but the muscles aren't really that stressed and not burning very much, then the activity is too light. So your goal as a trainer or as your own trainer is to try to find activities that get you out of breath at the same time your muscles are burning really intensely. Cool? Okay. So what's the timing for this? So in general, if anybody wants this write-up that I'm reading off of, I did create an outline for this podcast. You can just shoot us an email at brutalironGym@gmail.com. So the outline here is we have about the first minute or two, so I'm going to kind of give a 2-minute window to just greet the client. So have them come in, you know, you say hello, da-da-da-da-da. Maybe they're even running a couple minutes late. You know, maybe they just want to kind of share some crazy story. So usually clients don't come in, you know, right on time and say, hey, what do you want me to do? I'm ready to do work. They're usually coming in going, oh, you couldn't believe my day, and blah, 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 blah. Or they're super excited about something and they want to tell you in a good way. Maybe they were doing really good on their food and they want to tell you, like, you know, like show you, you know, like how well they've been doing. But there's usually some type of greeting, and that's a good thing. So as much as I love being a trainer, and I would turn myself into a robot if I could, it is good to actually connect with people and talk to people. So it's good to take a couple minutes just to kind of connect and see how they are. It's always a good opportunity, too, to kind of see how they're feeling. You know, ask them if their back's bugging them or the knees are bugging them. You can get a little feedback on the way in which they're talking, you'll see if it's a high energy day, a low energy day. Maybe they're going to complain about something, and you can tell, like, oh shit, this is probably not going to be a good day for me to do this big exercise or this like really hard push. I might have to wait for the next day. So in that 2 minutes, you can really analyze where they're at mentally and physically, and then be able to edit your workout to try to match that. So that is the kind of trainery benefit to having that little bit of a greeter time. So then let's say like from minutes 2 to 10, we're going to do our dynamic warm-up. So, and that would be your movement preparation. So you're going to kind of get them moving. I'll go ahead, well, we'll give a couple examples here. But these might be examples such as like doing planks. So we might have them do planks. There's a website, YouTube channel, called Redefining Strength. So again, it's a YouTube channel titled Redefining Strength. There's a lady that shows a lot of exercise variations, and she has one video that has dynamic movement warm-ups, dynamic stretches. And these might be like ways in which you do like, you kind of like step into a lunge, then you rock your hips back and go into a toe touch to stretch the hamstring. You kind of rock back forward into the lunge to stretch the quad. So you kind of like do movements. And there's a whole bunch of ones like side steps with a reach to work on your obliques and opening up your obliques and your hips. But you kind of do things that are bodyweight movements, but kind of slow, methodical, and they kind of open up tight tissues, and they try to open everything up and get you more neutral. So I have some of my clients, they might do a little bit like foam rolling on their adductor, then on their upper back. We might go into a lunge-style stretch, a glute-style stretch, a hamstring stretch, and then they're good to go. And I have a routine set that I know for a fact takes 8 minutes or less because I've done it a million times. So, and we also throw in sometimes, like I said, planks, side planks, different type of core activities like dead bugs, stuff like that. So that's what you're going to do from minutes 2 to 10 is kind of get them neutralized with their muscles so that way they can move evenly. So one of the things I think of that I like thinking of is if we think of our joints, like our hips, our knees, our ankles, shoulders, there's a lot of muscles that go into our joints. And if we think of we want that joint to move like, say, a puppet, well, there's a lot of strings that go down to a puppet. If some of the strings are tight and tied up in knots, some of them are too loose, that puppet's going to move really crooked, okay? So if we think of if somebody just walks through the door and we start making them exercise, well, all the muscles that connect to their hips might not be equal. So some of them might be tight, some of them might be loose, just like that puppet. And a puppet would move crooked if the strings were off. Well, the hips are going to move crooked if the muscles are off. And then all of a sudden you get a lot of shearing damage, you get inflammation, their knee starts to bother them, something else starts to hurt. So if you neutralize muscle tightness and get their joints kind of evened out, the rest of the entire freaking workout goes better, and their recovery between workouts goes better. So if you do not do currently any kind of movement preparation, whether you're a trainer or a regular person, if you just kind of walk into the gym and just go at it, like I have tons of young guys, they'll come in through the door, finish off their pre-workout, put their headphones in, they'll lay down the bench press, bench the bar like 3 times, throw a plate on each side, do it once or twice, go to 185, it looks like absolute shit. They try 225 and get pinned. And that's the first 5 minutes of their workout. So there's no niceness to their body in any way whatsoever. That's absolutely ridiculous. But that you'll see that. So we don't want to be doing that. Likewise, I have people come in, they do a little like arm reach stretch, like an arm circle here or there, and then they put a bar on their back and start squatting. And then you'll have the same person later in the workout, or before they leave, they're like, Rob, my knee always bothers me when I squat. And I'm like, because you didn't warm up, you dick, you dumbass. Like, you just walked in and you started squatting with weight on your back. Like, that's probably not the smartest thing in the world. So, doing some kind of movement prep is good. Now, if you're not sure of ideas to do for movement prep, like we said, shoot us an email, brutalironjim@gmail.com. You can go check out Redefining Strength on YouTube, and those are some good kind of quick resources. Now, from minutes 10 to 20. Okay, so the first 2 minutes was greeting. The next 8 minutes, like minute 2 to 10, was kind of your dynamic warm-up. Minutes 10 to 20 should be devoted to strength. So, if we're doing full body, we want to do something that works the legs. So you're going to look for a squat or a hinge. So a squat is a squat, where it's mostly a knee bend. A hinge is kind of like a deadlift, where it's mostly a hip bend. So you can kind of separate those into 2 categories. You don't have to, but it's a good way to kind of address it. Kind of categorize it. So you do some type of squat, or some type of hinge. And you want to do it for strength, and generally strength for most people, and I'm going to give you, we've done podcasts in the past about time under tension. So let me see if I can find that podcast number. But we've talked about before time under tensions and what the results you get for them. So that would be podcast 54, time under tension for muscle growth. And we've talked about activities of anywhere from like 1 to like 20-ish seconds is kind of strength development. Now, if you're looking for total fitness and you're looking for like general population, like saying this is not like a professional strongman or an elite powerlifter trying to like throw in a 30-minute workout. This is like a general regular person. You're not going to be wanting to do like 1 rep maxes. So don't do that. It takes way too much warm-up time. There's way too much technicality to it. So you'll be having to teach or kind of like refine your technique the whole time. You really won't get a lot of work done because it's going to be a lot of unnecessary kind of focuses outside of our goal of total fitness. So we're going to roughly say that it should be sets of activities that take 10 to 20 seconds to complete. So if I'm doing squats, maybe that's a set of like 5 for me. Maybe 5 reps takes me 10 to 20 seconds to complete. You know, maybe another person, it might only be 3 reps. Another person might be 8. But you want to kind of time yourself or think of it in time and say, okay, how many reps can I do with good form and have it reach like, you know, muscular failure within 10 to 20 seconds. So what's the right weight? What's the right rep count for that exercise? So she might be doing like box squats. She might be doing goblet squats. You could be doing like slide board squats or like foot plate squats. You could be doing, like we said, any kind of deadlifts. So regular deadlift, conventional sumo deadlift, elevated deadlifts. You could be doing stiff leg deadlifts. So like we have a belt squat. We do belt squats off of, or box squats on our belt squat. We do deadlifts on our belt squat. We do a lot of stuff. You can think of leg press, hack squat, power squat. There's a lot of variations, okay? But you want to think of some type of thing for legs. And you're going to be aiming for around 3 to 5 sets of difficult sets. So working sets, 3 to 5 working sets of 10 to 20 seconds of time under tension. You then want to have push. Okay, push muscles addressed. And this would be done at a vertical plane or a horizontal plane. So that's usually like chest presses or overhead presses in a sense. It can also be push-ups depending on what kind of level of difficulty, like strength level the person's at. So, and again, you're looking for 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 20 seconds. Then we have pulls, and these can be done as vertical or horizontal, which we typically think of as pull-ups or pull-downs or rows. So barbell rows, dumbbell rows, cable rows, machine rows, da-da-da. So I typically set those up in a circuit. So I set up a leg exercise, a push exercise, and a pull exercise. I have them do 2 rounds as warm-ups. Then we get our 3 rounds as very difficult working sets, where, again, it's 3 sets for each exercise. So they'll do the leg exercise for 10 to 20 seconds of difficulty, the push exercise for 10 to 20 seconds of difficulty, the pull exercise for 10 to 20 seconds of difficulty. Then we kind of take maybe a 30-second to a minute break, and then they run right back through it. So you can usually get your 2 warm-ups plus 3 working sets, and that's going to be 5 total sets of effort. And if you pick exercises that are easy to warm up, so let's say, for example, you're picking dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts, then you're doing dumbbell overhead presses, and maybe like pull-up negatives. You can even do dumbbell bent over rows. But you're just using dumbbells, you're using your body weight. There's not a lot of setup time. So this stuff can absolutely be done in 10 to 12 minutes even. So if it's taking over 15 minutes, then you're wasting time somewhere. So you're either picking stuff that requires too much setup, you're either taking too long of rests, so you need to be more diligent and push yourself through. So, for example, in the warm-up sets of that stuff, there's no need to take a rest. You just do the leg thing, the push thing, the pull thing. You kind of adjust the weight, go right back into the leg thing, the push thing, the pull thing. There's no need for a rest because it's sub-maximal effort on warm-ups. So you don't need to do a set of everything, then bullshit for 2 minutes. You're just wasting time. Okay? So time management in a 30-minute workout is going to be extremely important. So I wear a little like $10 stopwatch thing from Walmart. I used to have fancier watches, but I smashed them off things and break them and got pissed at myself. So now I just wear the stupid little $10 Casio watch. So, but it has a stopper timer like function. So all of my clients know that like As soon as they stop a set, we'll start talking to them, and they hear me like clicking away, and I'm setting the timer so that way I can talk to them. Then I'll look down at my watch and say, okay, it's been about a minute, let's go. And then they know like that's the pace we're moving. Okay, so that's the idea for the strength stuff. Is it's around 2 warm-up sets, then 3 working sets. Okay, and you're going to address them as legs, push, and pull. Now, can you do something that kind of is a blended movement? So like maybe clean and presses. Well, that's kind of legs, pull, and a press, so all in one. So that'd be a great thing. That'd be totally fine. So you can blend stuff if you'd like. That's totally okay. So renegade row is a good way of blending push and pulls. So if you don't know what a renegade row is, there's you're in a push-up position, but instead of your hands on the floor, your hands are on dumbbells. You hold a plank and with one arm and 2 legs, and you use the other arm to row the dumbbell up to your chest. Then you put it back on the floor. Then you row the other arm up to your chest, back to the floor. Then you do a push-up. Okay? And there's actually variations of renegade rows that almost look like burpees, where you can go from that push-up position with your hands on the dumbbells. You do like a left-hand row, right-hand row, do a push-up. You bring your feet up underneath you like a tuck under. You come up onto your feet, swing the dumbbells up to a clean position, do an overhead press. Then you swing them back down to the floor, kick the legs back out behind you, back into the push-up position. So those are freaking awesome. So if you've never done them before, they're a fantastic, amazing exercise for total athletic health and fitness, okay? So if you have a client that's physically capable of that, that gets your leg, your push, and your pull all in one go. And I like that better than a barbell clean and press, because a barbell clean and press tends to be more technical, and they get to be more limited because of the bar and the unfamiliarity with that movement. Whereas with dumbbells, they're more free-flowing. You can kind of move them to wherever you need them. Whereas a bar, you know, they're going to like hit themselves in the face if they put it in the wrong position. So, but that's the idea. So your strength stuff, 2 rounds of warm-ups, 3 rounds of working sets, and the working set should be 10 to 20 seconds of time or attention. Then we have muscle manipulation, which can take roughly about like minutes 20 to 25. Okay? And this is when you absolutely definitely should use kind of blended movements. So like we said, those dumbbell swings and renegade rows. You can do barbell row into a clean, into a press, into a front squat. You can do, like we have stuff for fitness outside. So we have like tire flips, sledgehammers. You can do sledgehammer hits on the tire. You can do step-up jumps on the tire. You can do push-ups on the tire. You just kind of grab an apparatus and you make them do a lot of work with it. Okay? So it can be dumbbells. It could be like we said, tires, sledgehammers, barbells. But you're looking for something that these are generally 2 to 3 sets. Okay, working sets, 2 to 3 working sets of anywhere from 20 to 40 seconds of time or attention for the exercise that you're doing. Okay, per exercise. So I'm doing 2 exercises. They both would be done for 20 to 40 seconds each. If I'm doing 1, it's just 1 exercise done for 20 to 40 seconds. So, but that's it. So again, that's something where you do 1 warm-up round, you do 2 working rounds, and then moving on. Okay, and that can be done in 5 to 6 minutes, easy. Then we have a muscle cardio finisher, which can take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, so that kind of finishes out the half hour. And for us, like we have like Concept 2 rower here, but we have a different connection. We have a special universal connection that we actually make ourselves, and it allows you to put any handle you want on the rower. So we'll put like D-ring handles or extended like rope handles, and just kind of do a bunch of weird shit. Like we'll have them do like wood choppers off of it. They might just do seated rows, and we can even do bicep curls and the tricep kickbacks. There's a lot of variations we do off our rower, so it just kind of makes a $1,000 machine do a lot more than just one stupid exercise. So, not stupid, but only one exercise. So, we also have a ski erg, so we'll kind of mess around with that for the cardio, muscle cardio. We have battle ropes. You can do battle ropes, jumping jacks, and burpees kind of as a blend. You can do, like we said, if you have tires or sleds, you can do like sled sprints, push, pull. You can do upper body sled activities, where you might press the sled facing away from it, do like chest presses, then you do back rows, then you do a side drag to work your core. There's a lot of variations of stuff, okay? A lot for muscle cardio. And that stuff can all fit in, like we said, in a 3 to 5 minute window. So our one sled itself is already pretty heavy. So I'll have, it's from Sornex, called the Root Hog sled. So we'll grab it, we'll go outside, and I'll tell the client, hey, I want you to push this down, sprint push, down 60 feet. Drag it backwards for 60 feet. When you come back here, I'm going to throw a plate on. So they'll go down and back. I'll throw a 25-pound plate on. They go down and back. I throw another 25. They go down and back. I take one of the 25s off. They go down and back. I take the last 25 off. They go down and back empty. Done. And that takes 3 minutes. And that's their muscle cardio. They're having a heart attack when they're done. So that is kind of the format for a 30-minute workout for total fitness, okay, is the first 2 minutes you kind of greet the people. Then you have minutes from 2 to 10 where you do movement preparation. Minutes 10 to 20 where you do strength. Minutes 20 to 25 you do muscle manipulation. Minutes 25 to 30 you do muscle cardio. So I've been doing this. I've been personal training for 17 years. So I've owned Brutal Iron Gym for 8 years now. This is all I've done. My whole life is just doing this stuff and fitting it all in. So how do you get this stuff in 30 minutes is time management and being creative with exercise choices. Making sure that you're not picking stuff that's too complex to the point where you need too many warm-up sets and too much setup time. But then also making sure that you're picking stuff that's fun and variety, so that way you don't get bored doing the same crap all the time. So I've trained clients for years, and we've never done the same workout twice. So I just keep a format that I know works well, and I plug and play whatever exercises I feel like doing that day. So it's a really fun way to kind of train people because it gives me the consistency of the format. So I always know if I'm doing the right thing. But it gives the variety of how you fit that format in, how you fill in the gaps, okay? Whether I'm doing a dumbbell incline press or a decline press or a flat press, or whether we're doing some kind of weird variation of flies, maybe a push-up, maybe we do a bench press one day and overhead press another day. There's a million variations of presses. So you just have to kind of categorize them and say, okay, last time I did vertical presses, this time I'll do horizontal presses. Or last time I did horizontal presses, this time I'll do vertical presses. And you just pick what's best for the client and what feels like it's fun that day, okay? So, this is the format, that how you can get total fitness in 30 minutes, okay, is again, you want to address movement preparation. That's usually best addressed through dynamic movement, focused on small weaknesses and involving your core, so you get your ab training in as well. Then you do strength stuff, then you do muscle manipulation stuff, and then muscle cardio. And again, our time frames is 2 minutes to greet, minutes 2 to 10 to do dynamic movement, minutes 10 to 20 to do strength, minutes 20 to 25 to do muscle manipulation, minutes 25 to 30 to do muscle cardio. Cool. So when you first introduce this to clients, it might be hard to get all of it in because you have to kind of introduce them to the work pattern of this. So they might not be aerobically fit enough to keep up with the pace of this. So you might find that you only get 1 or 2 working sets of strength. You might only get 1 or 2 working sets of muscle manipulation. You might only get 1 working set of muscle cardio. But you show them the format, you get them into it, and then over time you build upon it. Okay? So make sure you get all the components in first, and then try to build from there, even if you have to shorten each component to get them all in. But that way you achieve total fitness. Okay? You get them the goals they want. They get stronger, they build muscle where they need it, and they get cardiovascularly healthier. Cool. Okay, if you'd like this handout, shoot us an email at brutaliron@gmail.com. And if you like these kind of topics where we're getting people to actually ask what they want to learn about, please participate, okay? The more feedback we get, it just makes it so much more fun to do podcasts that I know at least one person is interested in, okay? So please give us feedback if there's anything you want to know, anything that's holding you back on your journey, okay? Cool. So if you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Brutal Iron Gym. Also, if you like the podcast, please share it with family and friends. So the more people we help, the happier the world will be. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. This podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. And you can reach us at our email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.